Welcome in the Stiffs. Thank you very much to our sponsors for Series 2, Budgeon Motors. Been established for 40 years, best car dealership in Shropshire. Right, go on then, Kev. So, obviously, your playing career's come to an end, and then you've gone into management. How's that come about? How did you become manager of Chester City?
I was going to sign for Bury.
This is still as a player?
Yeah, so Mickey Walsh, who was the manager, who had played with Everton, he was a centre-back, left-back, blonde-head, played with Reedy. So I knew Walshy really well, and he phoned me up and offered me a contract, a 2-year contract. I was over in America on my holidays, and then a week before I'm coming back, he reneged on the deal and said there's only a 1-year contract. So I said, oh, right. And then Mick Pedgick, who I was an apprentice, I used to travel in with him at Everton as a kid, and he used to pick me up on the way. I'd drive in from my mum and dad's house. He used to live in Kevin Keegan's old house in Nanoch, an old farmhouse. So Pedge was a little bit strange, to say the least.
In what way? What do you mean by strange?
Well, first he was...
keep it clean. Anything sexual would might not be worth it.
The only thing he ate out of a tin was a tin of beans. Everything had to be fresh. That was when he was a player. And then he just sat there in the chair, as a manager. And that was at 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock, whatever time he got in. And I used to sit opposite him. And by 3:30, he was underneath the chair like that. He was he was most probably one of the best coaches I've ever seen.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's a big statement, isn't it?
Massively. But he overcoached. So if you had a problem or a weakness, he'd work on that weakness. But then he'd find another weakness. And Julian Alsford had this unfortunate pleasure.
This is Julian Alsford, the centre half.
He got older Julian and he was working on something. So I'm thinking, right, this is maximum 20 minutes session, surely. An hour and a half later, and he's made Julian Alsford think he's the worst player in the world because he's worked on everything. So he's found something else wrong with him now. Every weakness in him. And
that's like taking me and doing crossing, shooting, heading all at once for an hour and a half.
And I'm like, you learn so much then from overcoaching. Too much information. Now, Pedge was, for me, one of the best left-backs I'd seen. He played for England, played for Everton, played for Stoke. Yeah. He was a fan. He won another player that finished with a hernia. I got a call off him, and Chester was 10 minutes down the road. I signed for them for less money because I was taking my kids to school in the morning. I could pick them up in the afternoon and then go back to work as well. But he taught me he had me going to game after game after game and then wanted me to play at weekends, training. I've never worked so hard in my life. Doggies, I thought I'd been gone past them. Yeah. I've never done 13 doggies. 13? Why 13? Well, it's not unlucky for some. That would be his answer, And as a coach, absolute great breeding ground to work with him. And we've got 1, 2, 3. Dave Flitcroft. Yeah. Signed. Chrissy Lightfoot. Were you there with Chrissy Lightfoot? No. Signed for Wigan in the end. Him signed. Roger Preece.
Yeah, Chester. Well, we know Roger Preece from Shrewsbury. Come to Shrewsbury, we all know him.
What a guy.
Nicest man in the world off the pitch, but on the pitch, angry. Horrible. Yeah. Killed someone.
Got done, really bad injury by the lad from Hartlepool, I think, did him. And one other player. Everybody, they'd just been promoted.
Chester had
from the 4th to the 3rd, or the 3rd to the 2nd, whatever it was. Yeah. And we had 4 players. So then we're looking around picking, where every day was a practice match in pre-season. See if we wanted these players coming in. There was players coming in, and who can we sign? So we signed Leroy Chambers. Remember him? Yeah. Jason Burnham and a lovely lad, Page up front. He was an absolutely fantastic lad. So we've got Leroy, and then we got Spencer Whelan.
Yeah,
that was the other one. That was the other one was there.
From the Shrewsbury, Spencer Whelan.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, he did from the Shrewsbury.
Yeah, so that was hard. Jason Burnham signed. I think we signed Ronnie Sinclair, the keeper. Yeah. Ian Jenkins was still there. That's right. So every day we're trying to pick this and get the squad in.
Your player coach.
Player coach. So he wanted me to play as well. I think I played about 20 games that year.
It's good effort, that.
But I was struggling. What I found...
Have you done any of your coaching badges and stuff? You done nothing?
Pedge was sending me on them. I was coming back. And he had all the badges going. Yeah. And the other thing he was, for his age group, Taekwondo champion of Britain.
Random.
Unbelievable. He's so fit. And he's kicking and all that. I mean, it was like, well, we had him doing it in the changing room once, and the Gatorade went everywhere. You know, and it was just a hell of a ground to learn your trade. And then he got the sack, and the physio took over. I didn't want it because he brought me in, and I didn't know what I wanted to do.
They've given the physio the manager's job. And your coach,
Derek Mann.
No, I don't.
He was Wolves kit man in the end. It was a joke.
I was going to say, I mean, I didn't want to be disrespectful to him, but I'm thinking they've got Kevin Ratcliffe, who's the coach.
The first day, Pedge is gone. The next day, he turns up in Pedge's car and a briefcase. He's only got his fucking sandwiches in there.
Look the part, though.
And then we go out on the training field, and this is where I'm like done in, and I'm thinking, I've got my session, what I want to do, but he's taken over. So
he's the gaffer, isn't he?
He's the gaffer, so off you go. So we have a possession, and there was 20 players. We had a couple of the kids joining in, 20 players, and it was 18 against 2. Half
Best
a
of luck
pitch.
to the two of them.
Half a pitch. Well, the two are never going to get out. And if they are, you want to get rid of the players that's giving it away.
Is he not thinking, though, I've got the Everton captain, the Wales captain, like I might tap in his expertise?
I just went like that. I just stood back.
Did you? You left
I'd only part of this.
And I went,
wise move.
What's going on?
But is the lad there? I'm stood there and I'm thinking, what's happening here?
What's happened here now then, Sam, is that after about half an hour, he says, right, I've got to go back. I've got some work to do. So he goes back. I went, right, that's it. So we had 3 sixes. And possession.
Yeah.
6 in, 12 playing. And it was a dream. The lads loved it.
Proper session.
So, and we had a good session, got that. And then after about 2 weeks or a week, we're playing Brighton away. He's going to watch a reserve game at Swansea and then go to Brighton after it. So I'm down there and I'm just sort of twiddling my thumbs and everything. Where is he? Doesn't turn up. He's gone home because he says, I'm in a traffic jam. I can't make it. So I said, what's the team? He said, well, go with what you think. So I've had to do everything. So I've had to do set pieces, give a team talk and everything. And we played really, really well. But we had some decent lads. Chris Priest, he was, he was a good lad to have. Good pro as well, wasn't he?
Class.
At that level, I'd have it. He was at Everton as a kid when I was there, so I knew him. Jenks as well. So
Ian Jenkins was a good class player. He played for Northern Ireland, didn't he, international and stuff? So he's proper player.
Yeah. So that's he come to Shrewsbury in the end as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he
for a little while.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, I got through that, and then he wasn't turning in for training. The manager, he was off. He said he had some sort of infection, stress. And he's only been manager 2 weeks, and he's off with stretch. He's dead now, so I can see what I want.
He's out of his depth, isn't he? So he's like, no wonder he's stressed because it's like doing anything that you can't do. So it's stressful.
It all come to a head, and he said he didn't want to do it anymore, and I took over to the end of the season. So he's then back as the physio and the youth team coach, which he was anyway.
Yeah. Which is probably where he should be.
Yeah. So he then says to the kids, they do some jobs in the morning, he takes them out in the afternoon. So he takes them out training on the racecourse at Chester. And then about 20 minutes later, he's back having a cup of tea in the reception with the receptionist and the secretary, Jill. And I've come down and said, what are you doing? He says, it's the Brazilian training this. Leave them get on with it. No pressure.
I might try that one.
You could be fucking robbing anything in Chester,
Just a Charlotte.
I thought, that's it. I'm not having this. So I eventually got the job because we did really well. I think the chairman sort of could see the way we were going. It changed a lot of things, the way that we were playing. I could touch Shelts with me. And Shelt was playing as well at the time. So it was working really, really well. Really well. And then I knew the next year we got relegated, but my ambition when I took over was not to finish bottom.
Yeah.
And we didn't finish bottom.
That was a 96, 97 season you managed to
finished second from bottom. That was an achievement for the football club.
Oh, right.
Massive achievement because we were paying peanuts to players.
And only one went down?
No, we went down. I think 3 went down.
Oh, so we went down.
Yeah. And then the next year, I've got a chance to release players, bring players in.
Yeah.
And with Pedge sending me out to games, I was doing like 3-4 games a week. I knew I wanted.
Yeah.
So I got a big one with Cyril Regis. And I knew
that was your first signing for Chester, wasn't it?
And I knew that my first, because I wasn't liked at Chester because I was Welsh, and they knew that I was a Wrexham fan as a kid, as well as an Everton fan. So they were on to me all the time, and they weren't convinced. And I thought my first signing's got to be a good signing. And I had a really good relationship with Martin O'Neill when he was at Wickham.
Yeah.
And he didn't know if he was going to keep him or not. So he said, "You'll be the first one that I'll let know." So he let me know straight away. He just had him in the room.
Yeah.
And I literally phoned him straight away and still went, "How do you know I've been released? I've just left the room." So I've got this
Thoroughly released. His phone's good. Straight away.
And he come up and he signed. And
Big signing that.
every time
Chester,
I seen
though,
him
isn't it?
afterwards, he still called me gaffer.
Yeah, corner.
And he was older than me. He was absolutely brilliant. He was the best thing for John Murphy. John Murphy's
a big centre forward who I played with. And he played for bit of a Blackpool legend, isn't he?
Should have signed for QPR.
Yeah.
QPR asked me to scout for him and said, we wanted to, it was Steve Burtonshaw, and said, would you go and see John Murphy playing for Blackpool? We want an assessment on him. Will you do us a match report on him? I said, I'll give you one now. Yeah. He said, what's that? I said, sign him. I said, he'll do you a job. He's got everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. He's got a good touch. For a big fella, what a touch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he got aggressive. Which
was
he got really aggressive, didn't he? But he was one of the quietest men.
Yeah, he's a lovely lad off the pitch,
Yeah. So we had good players. Neil Fisher. Signed Fish. You know, that was a big signing for me, Fish, because I tried to get the lad Gary Martindale as well. He was a goal scorer. So I ended up with Luke Beckett.
Yeah.
Which was
Luke
a massive signing.
Really well.
What a player.
Yeah.
You know, I got Nick in.
Nick Richardson.
Richo, yeah. And then yourself as well.
So then,
Sorry, it's good. You're saying here, Rats, a lot about players, what a player he was. He was good. But they're obviously nowhere near the level you've played at.
No.
Were you able to adjust to that and understand get frustrated with him?
The one thing you have to do is you're repeating yourself a lot.
Yeah.
Good players, you don't have to repeat to them. You tell them one thing. The great players, you don't have to tell them again.
Yeah.
But you're doing it every week. I was lucky enough that at Chester I had really good players and they could take things in. I was quite shocked that when I got to Shrewsbury I didn't.
Yeah. So with Chester, I mean, just to go back a bit. So you signed me on loan because obviously you moved to Peter Reid, weren't you? And I think I'd done my cruise shit. I'd come back, and I remember Peter Reid said, "Oh, I've had my mate on. I've had Kevin Ratcliffe on. You go to Chester." I was like, right, yeah, okay. So I went to Chester on loan, and it was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing. The Chester racecourse and everything.
Beautiful place.
It was brilliant. Loved it. And we were flying. We were absolutely flying, weren't we? And we got in the playoffs. So I'd come for...
I wanted to sign 2 players from Sunderland, by the way. I watched it again. I wanted...
Who did you come and watch it against? Bolton first team, reserves?
Reserves. Was either Bolton or Huddersfield? Reserves. And there was you and the other winger, the black lad, French, Bellew.
Yeah,
went to Man United.
Who was a he went to Man United.
I know who you're talking about.
Belleon, yeah.
So he went to Man United.
I didn't go to see him.
He played right with
me. So I went to see, and the two of you were like...
Who was your favourite? I'll have Belleon.
I couldn't...
No, you can't have him.
But you can have Sam Aiston.
I'll have him then. I'll have the left winger flipping. Go on then.
Chasing his own touch everywhere.
I signed you, and who was it? I was speaking to Sam Allardyce when he was at Bolton.
Yeah.
And he offered me a French player. I said, I don't know about him. He said, no, you can have him. I'll pay for his wages. I said, why? What's he on? He said, I can't tell you. Just take him. Yeah. I said, well, if you don't want him, I don't want him.
Yeah.
He said, I said, I've just brought Sam in. He said, right. He said, yeah, Sam, I remember him as a kid because he set up the academy.
Sam Aiston.
He set the academy up for Reedy up at Sunderland, didn't he? So I said, right, Sam. He said, He said,
oh, no.
If I was you, he said, I'd play him up front. He kept badgering me to play you up front. And I said, well, I can't. I got 2 players. I got, John Murphy and I got Luke Beckett. And I said, Luke Beckett's one of these players that everything falls in front of him. When he goes in for 50-50s, the balls go in front of him. John Barnes was the same. The amount of 50-50 balls used to roll in his favour. And it's a knack of how you got it, I don't know. But yeah, that's how I watched you there.
But judge your player, Sam Allardyce, played me centre forward. I would have done, honestly, if I played centre played me centre forward, I'd have played 100 games for Man City.
Joe Hart seen it too fair, didn't he?
Yeah, Joe Hart said that. But then we had a brilliant season. We got the playoffs. and we played Swansea in the playoffs. So that was like it was a brilliant group of lads. Sean Reid, Peter Reid's brother, was playing centre mid.
Yeah. Is this Division 3?
This is Division 3.
Yeah. Jan Mulby's manager.
Jan Mulby was manager of Swansea. So I've told the story before. So Sean Reid, I remember, has punched their centre mid in halfway through the game. Like that's not a rarity. Sean Reid punched a few lads, didn't he? Yeah. He's like Peter Reid, but like probably even nastier. One he was.
Yeah, maybe frustrated that he wasn't Peter.
Yeah. We used to go like this. Like, it was like, Sean Reid, Peter's brother. He's like, yes, I'm Peter's brother. Yeah, like no one ever says to Peter, you Sean Reid's brother.
I seen him the other week, Sean. I see him quite a bit.
He's good lad.
He's Reedy's driver.
He's his brother's driver. He's just his little brother. Bless him. Yeah. But we had a really good team, and we got. I remember it because it kicked off a little bit. Because they all come on the pitch, didn't at the end. So we've come in the tunnel at the end of the game, and it's all. And Jan Mulby's a Swansea manager. It would have been a rival of yours from Liverpool days.
Yeah. I get on really well with Jan.
Yeah, I remember it all kicking off and all fighting. And Jan Mulby's come in. I remember there was me and there was a couple of other lads having a go.
Spencer smashed the physio, wasn't
Spencer's obviously, Spencer punched their physio. Didn't he? I was like, at least punch their centre forward or something, not the physio. Jan Mulby's coming. He's just like proper strong on me, Spencer and about three others, just like pushed us away. And I thought, well, Big Jan's got involved. Might just
out the way. Well, I had a pair of spanners in my hand. Because I was getting the sort of right abuse from Swansea fans because I'd done a piece for the paper.
I remember you getting loads of abuse.
The Abernatha.
Oh yeah,
I had him against the wall. He stitched me right up.
He does. Is it the
Wales on Sunday?
Wales on Sunday.
I would never ever speak to them again.
You weren't Cobb. You weren't helping. You weren't helping the situation.
So he put this in the paper about. That was more or less sort of like trying to lower the tone of the game. That we've got as good much as chances Swansea, but he put it up. We're favourites.
But they were favourites, weren't they? We were Chester. They were Swansea. So we drew 0-0 at our place. So
I'd been there. Yeah,
the semi-final.
I got a lot of stick from their fans. Well, really hated, in fact, from their fans, and they were slaughtering me from behind because you're so close at the Vetch, weren't you?
It's hostile.
And then when it's kicked off. And then all the fans have ran on the pitch and they're running for me. So I've gone into Stewie Walker's.
I'm like, get him.
I've gone into Stewie Walker's and I've got the grips. I've got my grips in the hand. And I'm thinking, the first person that comes to me is getting these grips across their head. Yeah. Right? And the next minute, I've got a policeman either side of me. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I would have. I was in that position now. I felt threatened.
But I've said before, it was the most hostile environment I played in. That Swansea away, and that was that playoff semi-final, and it was horrible, and it proper kicked off.
It was a lad. There was the wing back that for the
little lad. I would have played against him. So I was left wing, one eye. So I would have.
Relatively little.
No, he's tall. He's quite tall.
I'd have played against someone like I was left.
They had a good side. Was it Leary? O'Leary played, didn't he? That lad. And they had the midfield players were good players.
Stephen O'Leary.
Yeah, I think.
I can't remember. I just remember they had the good side. They were red hot.
Yeah, the skipper was a good player.
But we should have beat them at our place, and we drew 0-0, and we've gone away.
They had Di Thomas up front.
Yeah.
The hooligan.
Yeah, and we've got turned up.
And Tarpley, was it?
It was brilliant then.
It is so hostile there at the Vetch. I mean, we played there, didn't we, in the last ever game at the Vetch, and it was literally. Yeah. It was a joyous occasion, and they were hostile.
But imagine how we felt threatened. And we were nothing to do with it, but you were hated there.
Exactly what I was coming on to there.
Must have been
like they were actually like nice to us, and I was scared out of my wits. So to think that they were coming for you.
Once I went into commentary, I was down at Swansea. And it was like really hostile to me because you used to sit in the stand.
Yeah.
Right behind the dugout. And once I got spotted, that was it. The producer was there. Rod was like, I'm sorry I brought you here. I won't be bringing you here again. I said, it's all right. I'm fine with it. Yeah. So I got absolutely lambasted again. And after the game, a mate had texted me, an Everton fan that was in the lounge, in the bar underneath the stand. So I went in the bar. And everybody just looked at me coming in and just come over and said, "Oh, fair dues, lad." And I thought, well, it wasn't meant. Yeah. But it changed. Everything changed from then.
So what happened from Chester after that then? Because it went pear-shaped after that at Chester. Because I mean that was a good team that. Yeah. And it was all right, wasn't it, Chester then? But it all went pear-shaped with money and stuff. And I've heard, I don't know whether this is true. I've heard you had to pay a water bill for $5,000 just to get a game on. What happened?
Pre-season game against Tranmere. Game don't go ahead. So the water board come in for their payments, don't get it, and they cut off the water if we don't pay $5,000. So I've come to an agreement with Bill. Remember Bill? Bill Wingrove.
Yeah.
So I said to Bill, where's the chairman? He says, you know what he's like, Kev. He won't come anywhere near this place if he owes money. I said, right, okay, I'll go and get $5,000. I said, but I want it back straight after the game with the gate money. So that's what I did. And I got charged 75 quid by the bank for drawing it out. So I took the 75 quid as well.
Yeah.
So I wasn't that stupid to lend it without getting it. But I had to get the game on because obviously I was thinking about fitness because of pre-season.
Yeah.
And we needed that game. It was extra money for the club. But the chairman was at it all the time. You know, and
it's another challenge for you, though, isn't it? Like you're worrying about the team, and then is that always in the back of your mind?
Well, you go into administration, and you get the administrators in. You turning up and telling the lads they're not getting paid. You know, I said to the chairman at the time, the lads would be fine with you as long as you come up front to them and actually tell them that they're not getting paid. They won't get paid till Monday. What you've got to understand is these lads have got mortgages, and if they don't pay the mortgages, they've got a fine to pay. You know, on top of that, they go overdrawn in the bank. Then they've got to pay like an interest.
Yeah, this isn't the Premier League. This is lads.
So, and then we get in the Premier or the PFA down. And who we're getting? Was getting the second. We're not getting Gordon Taylor, which I was fuming with.
Yeah, but because you're used to Everton, so if at Everton you would have got Gordon Taylor.
Exactly.
We're getting
exactly.
We're Chester now, so
we're like nobodies or whatever. And I'm
probably
constantly on the phone, and then we have to raise some money. So I sell Matty Mackay to Everton for 280 grand.
That's a lot of money, that, isn't it, for them?
For a young kid. Yeah. Who's still...
Connections there, Kev, is it? Or?
You
don't have to answer that, Kev. You don't have to answer that.
I said to Howard Kendall, so I got a lad here. I said he's head and shoulders above everybody else, and a bit like Dave. What we did with Dave, that when we played against the better side, we used to play him in goal. Yeah. So they didn't come and get him. Yeah. So we did that with you, and then we did it with the Matty Mackay. So he said, right, is there any chance I can get him to play in the reserves? We're playing against Blackburn. I said, right, okay, yeah, you can play him. I'll bring him along. So I took him along. He played against Blackburn, and the biggest thing Matty did, he went in for a 50-50 with their centre-half and won the ball. And Howard just turned around to me and went, and it wasn't anything skillful that he did. He just did that. And then the rest of the game, But Leon Osman wouldn't pass him the ball because he was on trial. I was really disappointed with Leon that night. Yeah. And Leon was a young kid, same age as him, I think. But unfortunately, Matty got injured later on. But we had add-ons up to £1 million. We never got anywhere near that because he never made the appearances. Yeah. And he couldn't handle Colin Harvey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colin Harvey got into him and he couldn't take that. And we sold Julian Alsford and Ian Jenkins to Dundee.
Yeah.
So they went up there for...
So you made a few quid for Chester.
180 quid. 180 grand they went for. So they offered 120 for Jenks and 60... Well, not 120, no. It was the other way around, yeah. They offered 120 grand for Julian Alsford and 60 or 80 grand for Jenks. So there was a 200 grand package. Right, come in. And I said to the manager, can we just adjust that a little bit? Because I couldn't understand why they wanted Julian Alsford for more than Ian Jenkins.
Jenkins is a better player.
So he said, yeah, what are you thinking? I said, well, I'll let you have Ian Jenkins for 180 quid and I'll take 20 grand for Julian Alsford. And he said, oh, why is that? I said, well, he's got a sell on with Watford. Yeah. So we did that. Yeah. So we saved the club in that way as well.
So at Chester, you're involved in everything.
I did everything. I did all the wages.
I mean, it's like it's not like say what Everton was like, where you've got all these people or what
secretary or whatever.
Gav was manager at Telford, and he was saying like it's the same as being like
same thing.
You're literally running everything.
You've got a budget, and then you've got to get the players' wages into that budget.
I come into Shrewsbury to do the same. But the other one then is we come out of administration. I turned to the chairman after doing them deals and said, this club never ever goes down that road again. We were going to games. Game got called off at Plymouth, and we're coming out of the hotel, and Bill Wingrove turns around and says, get him on the bus. I said, why is that? We haven't paid the bill. Come on. Yeah. So we're having to jump on the bus to go to the ground. We get the ground. Game's called off. We've put all the kit out. Get the kit back in quick. They're coming down for the check. You know? It's like, oh, no.
I remember speaking to the Chester. I mean, I think this happened after I'd gone back to Sunderland, but I remember them saying it was like wacky races. So they get paid on the end of the month. And obviously there was like 20 grand in the account, but the wages were like whatever for the month, like 50 grand. Yeah. So obviously the only ones you could cash with it. So there'd be a race to the bank to cash the checks. So the first 7 people
everybody was
cash their checks. Yeah. If you were like in the next 20 people. You didn't get money.
Everybody was injured on wages.
Everybody's shooting off. 10 minutes before training, everybody's shooting off.
Sliding off early.
So the club goes into administration the second time.
Yeah.
So the administrators come in this time, and it's really like all the bonuses are stopped. Signing on fees, if anybody had signing on fees, were stopped. And then as a manager, if you're not told within the first 2 weeks that you're gone, then they've got to keep you. So I went to see them knowing that. And because you get to know a lot about administration in football management. So I went to him, what's happening? And he said, oh, no, we need you. I said, we said, we know nothing about football. So if we want money, do you think you can raise it? I said, well, I just raised the club nearly 500 grand before. I said, but you won't get that again because we haven't got that amount of players worth that much.
Our best players have gone.
So coming up, they said in a week's time, with wage bills coming in, he said, we need X amount of pounds. I went, so lucky enough, sold Alex Smith for 90 grand to put there.
He was. I used to love him.
What a player, wasn't he?
Left back. I used to play left mid, he used to play left back.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I took him to Shrewsbury, didn't I? He was like, when I took him there, the chairman was like, well, how many left backs? You go through left backs like you've had hot dinners. Because I got rid of Gareth Hannon, didn't I?
Yeah.
Brought in Gregory, and then I've had it, and then I brought, and they saying, "Why are you bringing out?"
It wasn't you getting through them. It was me getting through them. Left wing, not tracking back on it.
I'm saying like, hey, hold on a minute. When you see this lad play, you'll be in awe of him. And Alex was just,
he loved it. He used to keep on like overlap me, pass me the ball, but I'd be going shoot me. Me and him were proper good mates. We used to go out drinking together and everything. But he used to overlap me all. I'm like, fucking stop overlapping.
I think he had big problems at home. But I don't know. I've never seen Alex since. I asked Benno when I see Gary Bennett, because him and Gary Bennett were really good friends. Don't get too much out of Benno, really, where he is. But, I sold him for 90 grand. That kept the club alive. And then the bloody American come in, who was an absolute nightmare.
So it's all falling apart then, and you've...
Well, I'm getting overruled. When he looks at, what I've made for the club, on the budget that you've got, and I thought I had quite a good eye for a player, and then try to get him, because he, as a manager at that level, I think you've either got to give him a lot of money, or you say, right, we want the youth to come through, that's what Roland wanted as well. So I said, right, okay, we'll do that, and it worked really well. So this fella comes in then, and he's bringing players in. And he one day turned up and he's turned round in the papers and said, we want to bring internationals in. I said, it's fucking Chester, not Manchester, And he said, I want to bring...
This is in like, whatever, the lower league, 2 divisions.
I get some lad coming in from Africa that's put in for the trial, and he says, yes, come in. He's got no boots. And I'm saying, if you're a joiner, you don't turn up without a saw. And he's turning up without any boots. So you find him some boots, he's not good enough or whatever, and then the next person, another day comes in and he brings this lad in from Iceland. And I'm saying, Terry, what's going on? I said, he plays for Iceland. I said, oh, right. I said, right. He said, well, so what's his assets? He says, well, he's a good crosser of the ball, he's a good header of the ball, and he's a good finisher. I said, why is he coming to Chester? So we get on the Rudy and do a session, the one where you sort of go down the right and he crosses the ball, the fella from the left comes in, back post heads it. Man at the front post, so can't cross it. So we get the bell on the left-hand side, going down the left-hand side, he crosses it. Can he finish? Can he finish? Not with his head anyway. So the shoot and finish doesn't hit the target at all. So
did you sign him?
After about three or four goals, shooting and everything, Sean Reid shouts over, Gaffer! He said, we signed a lad from Iceland. When the lads from Tesco's coming in. The lads were all honest. They were just absolutely roaring with laughter. And I tell you, I had to just shake my head. And he brought another American in. And Mark, remember the lad, I think he turned into a porn again Christian. He was a lot younger than this lad that he brought in from America. So he brought the lad in from America. And we played Flint Town. And he'd seen the young kid, and he said, I know what you're doing now, which was too late. I'd already made my mind up. I was going home. Because this lad from America was stopping the young lad coming through. Yeah.
So are you like ready? You're ready to leave?
I'm going
now.
But the one thing I've got to get sorted out is, because there's such a good bunch of lads, is to actually get everybody sorted out with a contract.
Yeah.
He goes away the week of the season starting on a holiday, and he's got no players signed. He comes in on the Friday, And none of the players want to train because they want to get the contract sorted out. Everybody signed except for one person, Jonathan Jones, the striker from Wrexham, little lad.
John Jones,
Yeah, John Jones. And he wanted too much money. I told him, I said, right, that's it. So we lost on the Saturday, lost 3-1 against Barnet, I think. And the writing's on the wall. We're going to go down that year. So we've only played one game. And the chairman's dad comes over from America. And I walked past him after the game. And he turns to me, he said, have you seen Keith? I went, Keith? He said, yeah, the manager. I said, he's in the changing room.
Yeah.
I walked off. And
that was
they phoned me up that night and got me in the next day. And I was in there for 4 hours. They didn't know what a loan system was. They didn't know who Bobby Charlton was. And I'm just talking to him as if I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? Then at the end of it, he picked up a piece of paper that was really scraggy, tried to flatten it out, and then he wrote on it, and it was a written warning to me. So I picked it up and I looked at it and I went, yeah, throw it on headed paper, please, will you? And send it to me and I'll give it to my lawyers and see what they say. I've never seen it again. Yeah. So then we played Port Vale in the week, beat them, and then I left the next day.
That was it.
Yeah.
So it's off to Shrewsbury now then?
Yeah. But this is how bad the chairman was. We had that lad from America who was staying in was it Stamford Gate, is it? Up in Holywell. He stayed there. Springfields.
That's why, I lived there. I lived there for 3 months.
Yeah, so
that's another podcast.
Yeah. So he was he stayed there, and the chairman told him we're playing Port Vale away in the other leg, and he said to him, bring your gear in, we're going to be moving you to new digs. And he'd signed a contract. So after the game, he gets off the bus, 12 o'clock at night. He goes to the chairman, where am I staying? He says, oh, no, we're not signing you. And left him in Chester, So Evo took him in that night. He's the copper that we got to know. We used to go to all the games. Yeah. And Evo took him in. And what he'd done is he made him sign a contract, but he hadn't registered it. It was in the drawer.
Oh, yeah. The old top drawer.
Used to happen back in the day a lot, didn't it? What contract?
Yeah, but I thought it'd finished like a decade ago.
Yeah.
From that, and that was like 99.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what a complete contrast. So you've had Everton, where you've got all this, and then suddenly, like, your first bit in the management, absolute
like disarray above you, which you can't do nothing about.
It's a great club, Chester. It was we run it really, really well. As in
you ran it.
Well, me, Bill was big help, and then we've got Joanne doing all the promotional stuff in that room, and then Jill, who was absolutely fantastic. She turned into the secretary in the end, and she says, Kev, how do I do this? So she did the wages and she did the secretary work, and she kept coming to me and said, how do we do this, Kev? How do we do that? I said, well, what we've got to do is we've got to phone the FA up and just get the clarification. And the worst thing was getting Welsh players in, because of all the the deadlines and everything. And that's when the Welsh FA used to shut at 12 o'clock on a Friday, and your deadline's 5 o'clock. So you had to get it done before in the morning. We had a couple of lads.
We don't work Wednesdays.
With Newtown or somewhere like that. We had a young kid there, and we hadn't got permission for him, so we had to send him back. And he played locally, but we sealed the contract for him to be a pro at 18.
Yeah.
So we went and played locally.
Kills the player, doesn't it? Jesus.
Yeah,
in Newtown.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just a nightmare, the Welsh FA, for that. Especially when you're on the border.
Yeah,
and you're looking for Welsh players to come in and play. For
clearance.
You. Yeah.
Go on then. So after that, it's on to.
How long did you have out of management?
About 3 months. 3 months. Yeah. So I think I finished in August, and then I can't remember when I took over at Shrewsbury. I got a call from Roland. Went to see him.
So Roland Wycherley, for anyone who doesn't, Shrewsbury chairman.
There can't be proper Shrewsbury supporters who don't know who Roland is. He's a bit different, I must admit. Hard work, but he's Shrewsbury, through and through. That's all he wanted was success for Shrewsbury.
What position were the club in when?
They were struggling.
Yeah, so this is in Division 3 as well.
Yeah, so they were struggling. I got in, and I'm looking around, looking at players, and seeing what there is, and it was like, I give Roger Priest was there, which I'd known, and he was like a youth team coach, and also John Kerr. Remember Curry?
Yeah.
He was centre of excellence when I was.
Well, he was at Chester
when I was a young kid at 10, 11.
He was the community officer at Chester, so I knew John. So I had him, Roger, and Chick Bates, and myself.
Chick Bates is Shrewsbury legend.
Love Chick.
Chick loved himself more than everybody else. So. And I just said, I come in the first day of training, and I said, Chick, will you take it? I said, because I just want to look what the players. We've got Oxford at the weekend. I want to look at the players, and then I want you to pick the side, get an idea of what he's thinking. So he took the training session, got through the game, lost the game in the last minute. If I can think, it was Dave Hughes, his fault for the goal. And that's when I said to Dave that he wasn't strong enough as a centre-half. He needs to work on stuff, because he's only young. Yeah. And then on the Monday, I got in and I said to him, right, lads, I said, we're going to have a five-a-side comp. Put your best five-a-side team down there. You put yours down, you put ours down.
This is to the coaches?
To the coaches. And everyone come back with a different five-a-side. I said, who's your first pick?
Who's your best player?
Who was your best player?
Yeah.
Chris Priest was always first pick, wasn't he, at Chester?
Chris Priest. Yeah.
Was always first pick. Because you knew what you were getting. A great trainer, you know, and then you'd most probably go for a Dave Flitcroft or something like that, you know. You know who was your first pick. You knew who your last pick was.
But no one knew who was any good at Shrewsbury.
Every team was different. You know, there wasn't one player that was in every team. I'm thinking, this is. And then I looked at the wage bill, and everybody was on the same. And then I realised why.
Every player's on the same money.
On the same money, and I'm thinking, no wonder everybody liked Jake King. Everybody, there's no stars.
So Jake King's the previous manager you've taken it from.
So all the first team players are all getting paid the same.
All paying the same. So I said, "Where's your best paid player?" So straight away, you've got to identify. You know, I think is it Kevin?
Where's his centre forward? Where's his centre forward on a bit more?
Well, Steely was the same.
Centre forward, yeah.
You know, Steely and was it Kirk something?
Steve Kerrigan.
Kerrigan,
centre forward.
You couldn't trust Steve because of his knee.
He's Scottish, so I don't
know. I sold him. I sold him for about 15 grand. And we played Halifax, and I think we drew or lost. And he turned around to Foggy and said, "Hope you don't go down like that." And Foggy said, "You cheeky," you know. Steve
he's on a WhatsApp group with me. Yeah. Well, should we be telling I'll hammer him for that?
Yeah. But Steve was. I found Steve all right, but it was 15 grand. I didn't know how many games I was going to get out of him, and I thought I'm going to take the money. You know, take the money for him, and then we'll just have to carry on. And Steve was all right. I always remember Steve coming back from injury, and we're playing Carlisle, and we got up, going up on the bus, and we're stuck in a traffic jam. Steve goes there on his own. Team sheet's got to go in. We fill the team in, and he's not playing. Dropped him. Ask him if he remembers if you ever speak to him.
You've got Luke Rogers in the youth. Is he in the youth?
He's not there, not ready yet.
Too young.
Yeah, he's too young. He's too young. Tolly's too young. Yeah, we skin of our teeth. You know, Brownie gets us a couple of goals down in Exeter.
So as a fan, I was there as a 13, 14-year-old. That's my best ever experience as a fan. Going down to Exeter, last game of the season, we have to win. Mickey Brown, absolute Shrewsbury legend, goes and scores a brace.
Mickey Brown, I've got a lot of time for Mickey. I thought he was brilliant. The way that he took when I released him was really, really, good. He realised I had to do things at the club. I thought that if I'm going to get a problem, it might be off Brownie.
Yeah.
But I didn't get one bit of problems from Brownie at all.
Good guy.
Yeah, he's really a good guy.
He's really iconic locally, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's the biggest. If you say anybody in Shrewsbury, who's the greatest ever Shrewsbury player, who's the Shrewsbury legend, say Mickey. Maybe not greatest ever player, but who's the Shrewsbury legend is Mickey Brown.
Well, what a day that was, though. The sun shining from the Shrewsbury end as well, the goals, and it's just incredible.
I nearly killed, who was it? Who was the left footer we got from Warsaw?
Wayne Thomas. Also, Steve.
Tomo.
Tomo there.
Absolutely. What a wand of a great footballer.
Yeah.
But the only problem is he had to play on a Saturday. He couldn't play Saturdays for some reason. He could play in training, but he couldn't play on a Saturday. And he went in recklessly and nearly gave a penalty away. And I'm, oh my God, So I know then that all I wanted to do was get that season over with and have a pre-season with the lads and bring in my own players. I felt lucky with bringing Nigel Jemson in. I got a call off Mark Crossley asking me to take and have a look at him. And I'm thinking, you hear all these rumours about Gemmo, but he come in and he was head and shoulders above everybody.
Yeah,
better.
So,
he's better
than I've seen at the club. Better than Steely.
Of course he was.
I mean, I've seen Steely now, and Steely used to come in and see me, and he said, "What do you think?" I said, "The only thing is, Steely," I said, "You score your own goals. You don't get on the end of anything. You don't score headers. Every goal you score, you make yourself. Getting the ball to feet, turning into the box and shooting. And you don't place it, you whack it."
He gets nothing on a plate.
No, he never anticipates where the ball's going to drop. It's all for him. Yeah. A bit like Luke.
Yeah.
Luke would never score you a header.
No. Never scored. Never scored. Can't remember.
And he always used to blast it.
Yeah.
Yeah, blast it. Sometimes quite a lot of the time.
Best player I've ever seen come to the football club by far, and I don't know what it was. Ryan Lowe.
Oh,
you never picked him.
I don't know why. Yeah. When I'm looking back now,
because
we brought him in. I had a right argument with.
Where did you bring him from? Was he from Chester?
No, he's from Burscough.
From Burscough.
Oh, of course. He went to Chester.
Yeah, Ryan was late. He was like 20, 21.
Yeah. He's having like bacon and egg on a Saturday morning at the services. You know, I said, you can't do this, Ryan. You know. So
I didn't know where to pick him though, did he? Didn't know where.
I hadn't a clue.
Strike or right midfield.
Well, because I've got Gemmo. If I hadn't got Gemmo, I think I could have played him and Luke.
Because Gemmo and Luke were centre forwards.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'd play on the wing, but like I played left wing, Jags played right wing. Like Ryan, he couldn't run past anyone. Like me and Jags were rapid.
Yeah.
So like where do you can't play him in midfield. So like where?
We started playing like a 4-3-3, didn't we? With two wide players, and Luke was one of the wide players.
Yeah.
But we worked on more off the ball, didn't we? Than actually when we were with the ball.
Yeah.
So where do the three up front actually go?
Yeah.
You know, when you haven't got the
defensively.
ball. So because we had Mark Atkins in midfield, so he needed two legs around him.
Yeah, Mark Atkins won the Premier League with Blackburn in '96.
And the big one was Jags, the energy levels that he had. And the other one was Tolly coming on the scene.
Yeah.
So, you know, Ryan don't get in that setup, you know, unless Sam's injured or Luke's injured. But we went to played Kevin the Druids pre-season, and Ryan Lowe did something in the game, and me and Foggy looked at him. Did you see that pass? And Foggy went, no, I didn't see it at all. I said, well, I seen it, but I thought, we've got nobody who can play that pass. Yeah. And he pinged it on the half volley from the left-hand side of the pitch, straight in front of and I'd just gone. But I had a problem signing him because they wanted $5,000 to sign him. So I turned to Roland and I said, right, they want $5,000. And the manager's not backing me with $5,000, you know.
He scored a million goals out of the Burscough in Liverpool.
So he played up front with Lee Trundle, at one stage, So I'm talking to him, and I think we were offering him £250 a week, something like that. Could come from non-league to go there. He was, like I say, only 20, so it's a big opportunity for him to get into the football league.
Yeah, get involved.
And I was always talking to Ryan. I said, but you know, if you get in, we'll put things in the contract to put your wages up. If you play so many games, you'll get this, the blah, blah, blah. And Roland was like, well, paying him $250, I ain't got to pay $5,000. I said, well, what if I get a deal that'll take it up to $5,000? So if you play so many games, you've got to pay Burscough up and above that. So he was going, like what? And I said, well, he's on £250 a week. Just think you've got to pay him £300 a week. That £50 you're going to be paying towards the $5,000. So I bamboozled him with a bit of figures, and he accepted it in the end and signed him. I don't know if he got anything for him in the end, but Roland was a bit stubborn when people did come in, and he didn't get on with other chairmen.
Yeah,
I don't know if we did we get anything for Ryan in the end, Shrewsbury? I don't know.
I think so. I remember that when Ryan was about to leave. So when Ryan was at Gary Peters wants to get rid of him, I always remember. I was still I was kind of in like the youth
I just signed, Dave. So I just signed. I came in on my first day training. I was like, who's that guy over there in the back end of the field? He went, that's Ryan Lowe. Like, what's he doing? He's training on his own.
Who signed you then?
Gary Peters.
Gary Peters.
So I think Gary Peters sent him with the kids, but I always remember I was still quite friendly with the lads a couple of years younger than me, and they said he used to train with a mobile in his pocket, and every time the phone, he would just stop the session. He was like, "Sorry, I've got to take this," and he'd walk off and take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I got Lowy in the season after, I think it was, or some part. It was later on in the season. It wasn't start of the season, because I always remember, you know, that I've looked at the wage bill and I'm seeing that most players are on the same wage.
That's mental.
So there's no good players or top players who are on more money, a lot more money than some of them. It's not tiered right. And then you've got your Leon Drysdales, Paul Howarth, and them who were like first year, second year pros, who were on lower wages, which was understandable. So there's about 3 or 4 of them. I can't remember which the other lads were. So I've got to make decisions on them. And obviously we saved the season. I've more or less got a list, and I've got my budget for next year. So the players that I'm releasing and who I'm keeping, I'm going to tell them the next morning who's staying, who's going. And
this is straight after the relegation. Mickey Brown saved the day.
The next, so
sent Chester down and all that.
The next year. So I've got. I can't remember if the keeper went.
No, Paul Edwards.
No,
he was there. He stayed.
He stayed, but
year.
I had to because he had another year.
Yeah.
And that's what I couldn't understand. He was 30 something. He got a couple of year contract, but apparently he'd been really good the year before. Yeah. So that's out of my hands. I've got to keep him. So I bring in a young lad called Ian Dunbavin, or Dumbo to his mates, and Dumbo and definitely Dumbo to his manager and his coaching staff. Yeah. So I bring in Ian Dunbavin. And the reserves play on the Tuesday. So I've made my decision. I'm going to keep Paul Howarth because he's got something that I think, but his life off the field wasn't good.
I live with him when I come and sign, by the way.
And I got his mum and dad in, which I was quite notorious of doing that. Luke Rodgers, I got his dad in. I didn't know who his dad was at the time, and just lay it on the line, and tell them that if they're going to behave like they're behaving, do you know what he's getting up to? And no, they don't. So, and I think Paul Howard, his mum and dad quite wealthy, weren't they?
Yeah.
From the Burnley area.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say he's a left footer, something different. I quite like the skill he's got and passes that he can make and everything. So I'm looking at the game on the Tuesday night. And I've got my retained list, and I've got my team that I'm getting rid of. So Steve Jelga, he's going. What's her name's going? He's going. Gareth Hamner is going. The match kicks off, and then I've got put that in my pocket and I start watching the game. And I turn to Foggy after about half an hour, and I've said, "Why am I signing him and not him?"
Who was that?
That was Paul Howarth and Jags. I said, look at the effort he's putting in.
So he never released Jags.
And one of the reasons I was releasing Jags was that he was on good wages. Because he'd come from Stoke.
Yeah.
And he signed a good... So I couldn't afford him. And I'm thinking, am I stupid or what? So I got him in the next day and released Paul Howarth and signed Jags. Yeah. But I had to sign Jags on a reduced wage.
Yeah.
And I said, if you do well for me, I said, I'll give you your contract back, that same money that you were on. And the following year, he was our best player until he got injured. He was phenomenal. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. And just before he got injured, I got him in and signed him on a new contract. Because he was doing... from midfield... He was balls were going in from all over the place, shooting, crossing, making passes.
He worked so hard, didn't he?
Yeah. And I said that guy, he deserves it more than Paul Howarth because Paul Howarth's just a waste of time. If that's what we're going to get. And I hadn't told him that he was being sort of signed, or I hadn't told Jags that he was being released.
Even later in Jags' career, just like Energizer Bunny.
Yeah,
non-stop.
But he was like that in training.
Yeah.
Everything he did was like, it was good.
Unbelievable engine.
But that season, so that season as well, obviously.
Tretz as well. Tretz was another one that went.
Andy Tretz.
Was it Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin Joblin.
Joblin.
Kevin Joblin, yeah. Blast from the past.
Yeah, so he left. There was a tricky...
There was an interesting little time there, because there's a lot of lads there who were quite popular, who you got rid of.
Yeah.
You said Gareth Hamner there. Like, I remember him as a fan. He played every single game. I remember him and Kevin Seabreeze played right back. Gareth Hamner left back.
Well, Kev had another year to go on his contract anyway, but he wasn't in the plan.
Gareth Hamner was popular though, wasn't he?
He was popular, yeah. And I just wanted better.
Yeah.
So that summer, I'd come on loan there at the end. You'd got me back to Shrewsbury on loan, hadn't you? So I'd played in the last couple of months and all that, and it all fine. Then you rang me in the summer. Remember you ringing me in the summer? Steve Parker rang me at Rochdale.
That's right, yeah.
And it was like Peter Reid said, I was going to ask for some money. So it was 50 grand it was, which... And Steve Parker tried to sign me, and and it was you with him, and then I said, obviously, I met you at Birch Services.
That's right, yeah.
Come down, didn't I? I said, and he went, come play for us. He said, we'll have a good season.
Yeah.
I was like, all right then. And he went, he said to me, you'll be my highest paid player.
Yeah.
Which I later found out was a lie, but anyway. I thought...
No, old tricks of the trade, Kev. You've got to be two-footed to get the best paid player.
I was like, at the time I went back, I was like, sound, I'm going to be the highest paid player. They say that to everybody. Yeah. Then we signed. But when we all come pre-season, and we had a good side. We had a good side, didn't we? Yeah. And that season...
Do you remember playing Rochdale against Steve Parkin's side at the start of the season?
No.
And they battered us 4-0.
Yeah, I do. I do because you dragged me off after about an hour, and someone come in because I was like seen as a big name signing, and the reporter said to you, and he went, he took Sam Aiston off at half time, and he was one of the lucky ones, and you showed me the video of that on the Monday, and you went, Sam, watch this game, and for about 19 minutes I had not touched the ball, and you went, you haven't touched the ball. I went. And I was like a little nugget, and I went, no one's passed me, and he went, Sam, that's 90 minutes out touching the ball. Like, get a touch of the football. And I was like, we got beat 4-0, didn't we?
We got Steve Parkin after the game. Because I get on well with Steve.
Yeah.
Because we always used to phone each other up after the games and everything. And his, I can't remember his coach.
Did he say he dodged a bullet with Sam?
He went, you're
50 grand, he don't touch the ball.
You're 50 grand, this is about 90
They'll give him 50p.
Well, he was so like, we've got a good side, we're going to get promoted. And he was like, and he was so up his own arse. You know, I've never told him this.
We smashed it,
right, so he's like that. And he goes out the room and Foggy turns to me and went, fucking hell. Whoa. I didn't know when you were going to punch him. And I went, we'll get our own back one day. Don't worry about that. So we played them at the end of the season. And we went up to their place and it was a bit, the pitch wasn't great, was it?
Still not great there.
No, so the pitch wasn't great. We get people going down with an illness. So all of a sudden, Luke's got to play, Tolly's got to play, Leon Drysdale, I think, played. We ran them ragged.
7-0.
We beat them 7-0, right? And it could have been 9 or 11.
Did Luke score a hat-trick?
Luke scored a hat-trick.
And I tell you, who did they have on loan from Sunderland? The lad up front. I think he went up to Rangers in the end.
That puts top of the league. Was that the season?
No, I don't think it did.
What was this? Where we top of the league for a bit, weren't we? Where we nearly just missed out in the playoffs. The last game we lost to Luton.
Oh, we lost to Luton.
Right.
Oh, what's her name? Had a nightmare, didn't he? Gregor. Absolutely, Gregor. But yeah, we beat him 7.
He listens to the podcast, Gregor.
And he what's her name? We ran him absolutely ragged. And I went to see him at the end of the game, and he was like not available. So Foggy said, "Oh, come on, we'll get him. We'll phone him up on the Monday because we always used to go in and have a drink afterwards." I said, "No, I'm waiting." So tell the lads to go and have another drink. Yeah. I waited, and the lad from Sunderland come in and asked for a day off on the Monday when I was in there. I couldn't believe it. Striker he was, big lad.
Not Kevin Kyle.
Kevin Kyle. He was on loan there.
He come to Wolves when I was there, yeah.
Yeah, so, we went in and I stayed there for as long as I could, and he wasn't happy, Steve Parkin, and that was my way of getting him back, you know, but, it was... But
overall, we had a couple of good years, decent years at Shrewsbury, and then there was that final season. The
final season was, if you think about it, you look right the way down the spine, we lost it. Mickey Heathcote.
His back was shot to pieces.
Yeah, Mark Atkins.
Do you know what? Though?
And Gemmo, we lost Gemmo with his shoulder.
But also, do you know what as well, like a little bit I think about the time, it was different, wasn't it? And I mentioned this to you before, like back then we had a lot of young lads, a lot of old lads, and we had Warren, Jemson, Andy Thompson.
I got too many old players in. It was a lad from Man City, the left back. He was
Jason Van Blurk.
Oh yeah, the Aussie guy. Is he Aussie?
Yeah, Van Blurk. Yeah, he come from Man City.
New Zealand.
So we had a mix like that, Kev. But and as well, like as one of the young lads, and I was like obviously a big character with them young lads, and I remember us like there was a little bit of conflict,
friction, wasn't there?
But
too many got in.
But also because we didn't understand what it was to be another player. So I remember like Ian Woan you used to give Ian Woan a Monday off or a Tuesday off. But Ian Woan had played 400 games in the Premier League.
They were travelling 2.5 hours.
And he was travelling 2.5 hours. And he's played 400 games. Yeah. So at the end of the day, Ian Woan should have But I didn't realise that. When I'm 24 at the time, I'm going, well, that's not fair. Because why am I training in the afternoon? But obviously, as I got older, and I suddenly thought, hold on a minute, Ian Woan's played 400 games. Mark Atkins is 36. Yeah. He's won the Premier League. Mark Atkins does not need to train like I need to train. Yeah. So I understand that. But at the time, I didn't understand that. Yeah. I didn't understand it. I think that was, looking back now, I regret that and thinking, we should have gone, lads. Yeah. Like, I think I should have said, like, Luke, Ryan, Tolly, they don't need to train. So suck it up, lads. We need to train. Mark Atkins doesn't need to train. He's 36, but we didn't do that.
No.
So that was on us a little bit.
Yeah, and I could see that changing. And the friction. And if anything, it's down to me as a manager because I brought in too many older players.
You think if you had 1 or 2, then
maybe 3 at the most. When you've got Mickey Heathcote, who was a great coach. Yeah. I mean, the first time I had seen a player with tattoos on his backside. And I thought he'd sat on a comic. But what a player. Yeah. So we signed him. I don't even know how many games, but what a miss that was with him. Yeah. And obviously big money they were on at that level. Yeah. Lost Mark Atkins, another big money, and Gemmo as well. And when you lose them 3 players and you're looking to go and you bring in the likes of, no disrespect, a Dave Artell into the football club.
Yeah, when we put him on loan from... Where did he come from on loan?
I don't know.
Rotherham.
Rotherham, that was right, yeah.
And no disrespect to him, but, you know, Mickey Heathcote was a good player for that level. I thought that was... When we signed him, I thought, you know, he's going to bring on other players around. I can, you know, sort of even bring younger kids in to play with him. But once he's gone out, you try replacing... And, you know, you're talking of a right few grand a month that you're paying, and you've got to go and get other players in. I would find it hard to bring players into the football club. I must admit, there wasn't that quality that I thought was going to get out, and the players that I was bringing in were maybe at the wrong age. You know, the lad, Van der Blurt, did you say his name was?
Jason Land.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him ducking out of a header up at Carlisle, and I lambusted him, and I thought, and I don't think he'd ever had it before. Yeah. I think, you're ducking a header? You know, I mean, you're a left back.
It's always been a tough place to attract players for whatever reason. I don't know if it's location or just not the glamour of the club. It's been, even nowadays, for the last 20 years, it's been difficult because we're never going to pay the money to get the
But the pitch was a big thing. Because of the way that I wanted to play, the pitch didn't help us whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, that's why we beat Everton in the FA Cup. You know, it was a big upset, but that was one of the weakest Everton sides. I said to the lads, this is a great opportunity for you.
What a chance.
And we worked on the two wingers, didn't we? Self and I can't remember who played on. I think
Jags.
Jags, yeah. And we earmarked Dave Unsworth, and we earmarked the lad Peter Clark, who played right back. He was never a right back in his. And we played him in pre-season, and we gave him a good game and lost 2-0 on a really good pitch. Yeah. Now you've got him in January on a bad pitch, and I knew Gemmo and Luke give Stubbsy and Davy Weir a hard time. Yeah. You know, Luke
at the time would give anybody a hard time.
And I got into Gemmo's head that don't even look where Luke is. Just hoop balls over your shoulder. Chest up. That's all Kenny did. Yeah. That's all Kenny did with Rushy. Yeah. I said, so why can't Nigel Jemson do it? But Nigel always used to get jealous if he scored in more goals than him and wasn't passing to him. Yeah. He doesn't get his head up, Nige. You know, and said, Gemmo, he doesn't get his head up because he's running too quick. He doesn't see you. Of course he can see me. I said, he doesn't see you. I'm telling you. You've never been that quick. You know, you see everybody because you're slow. Yeah. You know.
But he's hard work, Jemson, in the changing room. That was the thing. I think that was a little bit of a problem. That
I remember the lad from Man United, Josh Walker. And he just killed him.
I remember in the circle.
It should have been me that you come to Gemmo then and said, leave him alone.
But in the circle, I remember it happened one time in the circle, and Josh Waters gave the ball away, and Gemmo's picked up the ball and he's threw it in Josh's face. And I was like, don't do that. And and it was proper like a standoff between me and Gemmo, and everybody's like going, whoa, this is not. And it was just little things. I remember one time Ryan had a go at him, and I remember Luke never had a go at Gemmo because Gemmo was brilliant for Luke. Amazing. And then the one time Gemmo was like, be quiet, Luke, whatever. And he said something about tickets, and Luke lost his head, and Luke was like, you know what Luke's like in the end. He was brilliant, but he was like, shut up, man, or I'll smash your face in, man. And Gemmo just went proper quiet, and everybody went, Luke's not messing about you now. You be quiet, Gemmo. And I think it just caused there was little bit of friction.
Yeah. He was intimidating. I was a 16-year-old at the time. We get called up. You needed extra numbers in training. We get called up. You're thinking, please don't be on Gemmo's team.
A bit like it was
but I used to fall out with him all the time. Yeah, I always used to fall out with him. I always remember one with Gemmo that we did a set piece. And I always used to do set pieces maybe a little bit different, and the walls and everything like that. And he turned around, he says, I've never ever done this before. I said, maybe that's because you never played at the highest level for long enough, Gemmo. And he walked off training. He wasn't happy at all.
I remember one time, brilliant, when we were doing set pieces time. I don't know whether you remember this. We're at Scat College and we're doing free kicks. And we're all taking free kicks and we're all terrible. And you stepped up and you've gone left, just do this, lads. And you stuck 2 left-footed free kicks in the top bin and just went, just do that, lads. And I've gone, Gaffer, that's why you're playing for Everton. That's why we're on Scat pitch playing for Shrewsbury. Because there's balls everywhere, and you stuck 2 right in the top bin, and I was like, fair play.
The other one was Foggy, who didn't play at that level. Yeah. And he played for Oxford, but he had a great strike on him. Left foot, right foot. I think he was a right-footed left back when he played, Dave Fogg. So he's got all these lads, Leon Drysdales of the world and everything, and Luke, and the balls are going everywhere, and he gets a ball and he just gets it and he goes, and he picks it up and he throws it in the air and he half volleys it past Bavo into the top corner, and he turns to the lad and says, if you can't get that, go and get a fucking job.
Go get a job.
Honestly, it was the best bit of coaching I've ever seen in my life.
It was brilliant. We had a brilliant time at Shrewsbury, and it was great. But then it was just that, like, after that, Everton was massive.
You mentioned, just touch on Everton again. Obviously, for you, Everton legend, beating them in the FA Cup, one of Shrewsbury's greatest ever days. That must have been special for you.
You know what the special thing for me is that we beat them and it wasn't shown on TV, and it was more or less saying 2 fingers to the TV, you've missed a game here.
Yeah.
You know, there's a connection between me and Everton and then Shrewsbury, and we've done them. And I can't remember which game they chose, and then we got the next game.
Chelsea was it?
I've taken the club literally from, I think it was 750 grand in the red at the time, to 650 grand in the black.
Yeah.
You know, so we've all of a sudden...
And also turned down moves. Like
£1 million.
Like, that's... You can
well, I had a big thing. When I first got in the club, that first pre-season, Shropshire Cup, which is the biggest cup to ever play in Shropshire.
It is.
Right. So,
Dave's like, I don't know why you're being sarcastic.
I've won it twice.
That's a really big trophy.
I've won it twice.
So and it's a great trophy. It looks a great trophy, doesn't it? So we're playing against Shifnal, is it? Would it be Shifnal?
Yeah, could well
So we're playing against Shifnal, and
Mighty Shifnal.
The day before, we're playing against TNS. So I put the first team out against TNS and then put the kids out against Shifnal, and they lost. So I come in on the Thursday, and Mal. I got on really well with Mal because I made Mal my best mate at the club because I'd heard so many bad things about Mal, as in he'll stab you in the back and this, that. And I thought, well, I've got to make him my best mate then. And we did. We become really, really good mates. And the fact that I can't even remember his name, but... Sorry, Mal. Yeah. And Mal said, do you mind? We've got a meeting next door. So I went in, and it was a tribunal. And I was getting a ticking off for playing a weekend side in the Shropshire Cup. He said, this is, the high... He said, that's funny enough, I've never heard of it. And I got a right dressing down off the secretary of the Shropshire League and FA and all that, and I was getting right ticking off. And I says, don't you ever pick my pre-season for me. I says, I'll pick my own pre-season. I says, if you want games being played, you come to me and I'll tell you when I can play them. And next year, right, that end of that year, we played Brighton at the end of the year and we beat them 3-1. Yeah. So I walked in on the 3-0, right, and we went down to 10 men, and everybody thought, what's he going to do now? And I changed the system. I went 3-4-2. I just played what was it, 3-4-2, 3-7-9, 10. Yeah. So 3-4-2. So I never went 4 at the back and 4 in midfield and 1 up front or whatever. I went 3-4-2. It
wasn't Brighton, it was Plymouth.
Was it Plymouth?
Definitely Plymouth. Ryan scored. I scored. Ryan scored.
Yeah. So we battled.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. Legs in the side were unbelievable. Yeah. So on the Monday morning, I've gone in and I threw on the table to the Shropshire fella. And he said, what's that? I said, the team from Saturday. He said, oh, right, yeah. He looked at it and I said, team from Shifnal. And it was like there's 7 from the lads who played at Shifnal, playing for the first team at the end of the season. Yeah. So don't you ever tell me how to pick my teams, because I'm looking after the team and the kids. And them kids needed experience to go to Shifnal that day. Yeah. So
because the youth system before you had come wasn't producing players, was it at all?
No, Kevin Seabury was the last one.
Yeah.
And I turned around to Roland. I said, do you think every best player that you is from Shrewsbury? You've got to go outside of Shrewsbury to look for players to be bringing in. Yeah. And they'll make the players in Shrewsbury actually better. Yeah. And that's what we did at Chester. We went out to the likes of a place called Penny Growis down in Carnarvon and set up a satellite school there. And we used to send our 12-year-olds down there to play against their 14-year-olds because our 12-year-olds were stronger than their 14s. Yeah. Because they're a slow breed down there. They don't grow that tall. I don't know if they've changed now. So we had schools coming, doing that. And that's what I wanted to do at Shrewsbury. And that was a sort of... I went in and then I turned around to him and I said, right, do you want to sort out the pre-season games? And he said, oh, right, okay. So I says, on one condition, I said, why do you have the Shropshire Cup final at Shrewsbury Town every year? And they went, well, it's just tradition. We have it. I said, what's your gate? And they went, 1,200. Well, why don't you have it at Telford? You'll get a full house, 3,500.
Yeah.
And they did. They did that year. We got to the final, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think.
I can't remember.
And I'm trying to think, because obviously...
I remember playing at Telford in the final.
Yeah, in the final.
We won beating Telford.
And that was because they had a full house. Shrewsbury v Telford is a bigger game for Telford than it was at Shrewsbury at the time. Not being detrimental against Shrewsbury, Telford. And I'm thinking about the crowds. It's a better atmosphere and it's better. It'll be a better game. Yeah, and they did it, and it proved it was a full house. And I think Jake King was there at the time.
But you never picked us. Like I think I did play, but I think I played later on. Like you didn't. I didn't play in those Shropshire Cup games. I remember. Like you didn't pick like the first. The first team lads.
No.
I can't remember playing in them at all.
No.
I remember...
There's only two. I think you only played 2 games anyway.
Yeah, so I remember not really...
that and the final, innit? Yeah. I think this is at Bridge North.
Yeah. So that season where it all went wrong then. So any regrets about that then?
Like I said, I think bringing in too many older players, your Ian Wones and Van der Bleur.
Ian was a quality footballer, wasn't he? It's difficult, isn't it?
Tomo, I thought, would have done better. When he come in, I'd seen him at Cardiff, and I thought, what a good player, and and it just didn't work. I think he was too comfortable coming to the end of his career, and it was just a little bit of extra pocket money. That's the feeling I got. But that's down to me. Everything's the young players. It was unfair on them sometimes. I was playing the lad Murray at centre back. I played him a couple of times. He was. I had that much faith in, but it was always a mistake in him.
Yeah, I think it was just a little bit of a difficult, like you say, a difficult blend with the old and the young, and there was a little bit.
We had Matty Redmile, who he must have been about 16 stone.
But he was flying for a little bit.
But then, we go away and we play, I think, at Boston and lost 5 at Boston, and then I find out that he's gone home that night, and we're staying in a hotel. So that's why I dropped him for the Everton game. Played Peter Wilding.
All right.
So
Peter Wilding's greatest ever game. So Wayne Rooney played.
Pete tells everybody that Wayne Rooney was only 12. I think.
I don't think he was that old.
Pete kept him quiet.
Yeah. But Pete was brilliant.
Yeah,
what a pro. I signed Pete. I pulled him in and said,
Is he from Newtown, Pete?
Yeah,
he come from Newtown.
He come from Newtown. He was non-league one, isn't he? And once again, he was on a good wage. And I said to Pete, I need to release funds, so I can get some funds in to get better players in. I said, but I still want you to be part of the squad. I said, why don't you go part-time? And he looked at me, I said, well, I believe that you're a good odd job, man. Why don't you start up a business? Because you come into the age that you're going to be have to retire soon, possibly.
Was he a plasterer beforehand?
Yeah, plasterer. I said a plasterer. Why don't you set up? He said, well, I already have. So I said, look, I want you in Tuesdays and I want you in Thursdays. He used to come in every day. He was an absolute diamond. And then he come to me.
What a guy.
He come to me before the end of the season, and he said, "I'm packing in at the end of the year." I don't think he was liking what he's seen.
Yeah.
What he was seeing going on and the players and everything. He was quite a quiet lad, Pete, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
But he was a good pro. Played great against Everton. Matty Redmile comes back in, and I dropped Matty Redmile for the Chelsea game. Yeah. And Matty comes to see me. What's that for? I said, that night you went back to your missus' house. I think Pete did it well against Everton. He deserves to play in the game. Yeah. So I said, I just want to reward Pete for being a good pro, type of thing. So what I should have done is played Matty Redmile against Chelsea and put Pete on Zola. Done a man-to-man job.
Yeah. I mean, just to finish off Shrewsbury, what were you going to say about Roland?
Because obviously Roland Wychley, the chairman.
Oh, it was hard work.
Fans would love a little bit of an insight because he's been there for 25 years now. He's done an amazing job when you look at where the club was and where it is now and everything's going on.
He's a manager that switched on. And when I got to the club, that was so PC. Yeah. That I'm thinking sometimes you've got to do things a different way. And I'd like to think that I've educated him some ways, but he was quite demanding as he's still working. And he used to come down to the club every day at 2:00. So if I didn't want to see him, I had to be out the club by 2, which is very hard as a manager. Yeah. If you want to watch videos and things like that. But
I know, I still think it's similar.
He took it too hard, defeat. Managers take it hard, players take it hard, but he took it really, really. He wouldn't speak to anybody. I got no feedback off him about other clubs. I had to go through Marl Starkey to find that. And I think as a chairman, you've got to find out all the clubs. And what you've got to remember is other chairmen tell lies. They'll tell you they're paying player this much, and they're paying them other. The fella at Doncaster Rovers, I can't remember. I think his brother was involved in the railway robbery. Back in the 60s. I think it was, yeah. And he was in then. He used to have, his hair was like wavy davy, and he used to have clips in his hair and everything. And his wife maybe half the age of him in the boardroom, and he'd be spouting off how little they're paying players. And I'm thinking, no way, no way. And you see the quality of players they've got, and he's saying they're paying them like £500. And Roland always used to say to me, he says, what do you think about the budget? I said, well, sometimes the budget reflects where you should be in the league. And he says, what do you think? It's in the bottom five. Yeah. Yeah. Your budget has a lot to say for what you can bring in. And I think he was absolutely, gradually coming round to the way that we were working. The one thing that I got from Roland was he so wanted it to go right with me. Yeah. The lad. But
you were a big name at Shrewsbury at the time.
The thing that, I brought a lad in from Hartlepool, the lad that he was at Forest, and he was a quickie. God, he couldn't hit a barn door from 4 yards. I thought Sam was bad, but this from Nottingham.
Chris Freestone.
Yes.
Chris Freestone.
Had a tough time, didn't he?
And then I brought Sturridge in, one of the Sturridges in, and he missed a bloody penalty. He did. Nothing was going right. But I went on the recommendation of Chick Bates from that one, which I learned was wrong.
You had all those games in hand, though, didn't you? At the end of that year, we got relegated. You was like,
just
6 games. Because we'll be all right. I mentioned 7 games in hand would be all right. 6 games would be all right. We lost.
We didn't win a game in the league after the Everton game.
Is that true? Is it?
And we beat Crewe in the midweek league thing or the midweek cup that we're involved in. We got to play Carlisle in the final or semi-final.
Yeah, of course we did in the semi-final.
And then we lost.
Was it EFL or the FA?
Lost twice in a week.
In the FA Cup in the 4th round. We're in the EFL League Cup semi-final. Remember playing Carlisle?
You lost on penalties.
No, I don't think so.
I think it was penalties. We lost an extra time.
I think we lost against Wrexham that year where we battered them. Lee Jones scored 1 ball over the top, beat us again. And the other one was Macclesfield, where we dominated the game. Yeah. And I still, Brian was the gardener, not the groundsman. And the pitch was awful. I mean, I come in I think we had Monday. We had Monday off, and I come in on Tuesday, and the divots still hadn't been put back. Yeah. And I was like, and then I found out he didn't stay to the end of the game. He was doing the cricket.
That's just cricket.
And I was like, I just can't believe this. How can I do this? I mean, the groundsman's seen off so many managers, and I had a great relationship at Chester with the groundsman, Gary. Remember Gary? I mean, brilliant. Never seen anybody work so hard in their life.
So much,
and the pitch. As soon as the match was finished, he was mowing the pitch. He'd be there till like sort of 7, 8 o'clock at night after the game. And mowing the pitch, and then 12 o'clock at night after the night game. It was absolutely fun. We trained on it, didn't we, Sam?
Yeah.
I used to go to him on a Friday morning. Where can I train? And he said, go on that quarter over there. So we used to always go on a quarter of the pitch. Always play on the pitch.
Massive.
Even a 5-a-side. Yeah. Just a 5-a-side. Go through set pieces, walk through them.
Before we look, Kevin, we'll sort of ask a couple of final questions and pick your 5-a-side team. There's 3 memories I've got of me and you when we're there. I remember the first season, you pulled me in at the end of the first season. You said, well done. But he said, I've looked at your stat. You've had 13 yellow cards and scored 2 goals. Next season, you need to flip that. And I was like, I didn't realize I had 13 yellow cards and 2 goals. And I thought, that's not good, is it? I need to flip that.
Not when you only played 14 games.
Another thing I remember, when I was on in my first season, you said, Sam, I've looked, your 5, this was a bit like you had, you lose, your 5-a-side teams or your 7-a-side teams lose all the time. And I remember you told Peter Reid that, and I thought, why is that? And I was a young kid, and Peter Reid said, I've just spoken to Kev. He said you lose all the time. Yeah. No, but he said because I think a little bit. Yeah, you're playing for yourself on the left wing. Yeah. Whereas you weren't playing as a team in the middle and in the play. You're playing on the left wing, trying to do something special. And then if you weren't getting it, you were like, get me the ball.
Well, I told him about your upper body as well.
Yeah, and then
he worked on that because when you come back the next time and think,
Yeah, like
I've got his brother.
Yeah. No, because you said to Peter Reid he needs to work on his upper body.
Yeah.
And I worked on that loads of sun. And
Well, the one thing that really said to me is that when he took you back from Chester, he said he come back a better player. And he said that he's learning to lose his marker, as in making runs forward and then checking back.
I was learning the game, because I'd never been an apprentice.
That's what the loan's all about.
Oh, you've never been apprentice?
I didn't know
I wouldn't have signed you if I knew that. I was starting from fresh there.
What about this one, Sam, when you've gone on and ripped it up? Was it away at Macclesfield, was it?
Right. So obviously, I was banned from town. Remember, you banned me from going into the town centre a little bit.
Why was that, Sam?
Other people have been
Shrewsbury's the worst place to go out in.
Exactly.
I've never experienced,
because you used to hear all the time. You knew where I'd been.
But it wasn't me looking for what you've been up to. It's people coming to me.
Telling you.
I was like, I can't believe this.
We come in. It was Macclesfield. It was, and I was sub. And I've come on and I've ripped, because I think so that's when I played left wing. I was either brilliant or terrible. It was either got loads of the ball and ran. And they come in at the end of the game and you went, "Thanks for that, then, Sam. Now we can fuck off." And I went, "What?" And he said, "Because we got arrested." It wasn't my thing, but I'd been in the situation and I'd come out and I was banned from town at that moment. And you were like, "Gone, you're gone." Transfer list. But I remember when it all come out in the end, and you were always sound with me like that, but you give me some proper bollockings like that.
I've never had as much trouble from the public in Shrewsbury about the players.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the nicest lads about, Andy Tretton.
Yeah.
I get a phone call.
The nicest man in the world.
I get a phone call on a Monday morning, right, saying from the police, telling me he's been a disgrace on the Saturday night.
You're good. Andy Tretton or Sam Aiston? Sam Aiston, I'm accepting that. Andy Tretton?
I said, you what? He says, yeah, Andy Tretton's been an absolute disgrace. Apparently he's verbally abused a woman in the nightclub and everything. I said, oh, right. I said, if Andy Tretton worked in Marks and Spencer's, would you get onto the Marks and Spencer's manager and tell him that? And he went, no. I said, well, fuck off then.
Yeah.
And I did that twice.
Yeah.
Once about Andy Tretton. The other one was Steve Jelka.
Yeah.
And Steve he'd been out on the lash, by the sounds of it.
No, not Steve.
And there's a pub, the one-way street. You can only go so far up when you go over the bridge, the English bridge.
Yeah.
And then you go up and you can only go so far. And there's a pub about 10, 20 yards up on your right-hand side.
Nag's Head.
So,
one thing we know is the pubs.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Nag's Head.
Yeah, what had happened was that I think the car park is you've got to go up the one-way street to go to it, so you've got to go right the way round.
Yeah.
So I think Jags had had a few drinks and wanted to leave his car in the car park. So he got out of his car, police car come past, he went up the road instead of down and went into the car park. Yeah. Well, the police wanted to speak to him because he'd been drink driving. So they phoned me up on the Friday, so he must have been out either I think it was on the Wednesday. So he phoned me up for him to come in. Steve, we've seen Steve, we just want to ask him a few questions. I went, oh. So I got Jags in, got the story. I said, well done, Jags. Leaving your car, you're not driving, but you wanted your car to be safe. So I sort of, you've not tried to drive home, you just drove across the road, but you've gone down a one-way straight. So I thought, leave it with me. They won him at the police station after the game. So I phoned Evo up.
Yeah,
the copper from my mate. So I phoned him up, I told him the situation. I said, they want Jags to go down to the police station. What shall I do? He went, tell them to fuck off. So after the game, I phoned him up and told him he's had to go to hospital for checkups and everything. He can't make it. The copper just went, you bastard, and put the phone down. I never had so much trouble off the police.
People just contacting you.
I think there was a policeman that was actually Jake King's best mate, and I don't know if he was trying to get. I've done nothing to Jake. Sorry, Jake, but if you're listening, I believe you're a really nice guy.
It's difficult when you're trying to worry about tactics and all that. And you're constantly getting phone calls saying your lads.
I never had it at Chester. No, I mean mainly because I think I mean there was quite a lot of lads in Shrewsbury staying over, and
that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We had lots.
Shrewsbury, and Chester's a bigger city
Chester,
and stuff.
People were living all over the place.
I don't know,
get sort of drowned out a little bit.
I don't know. I think they're very, very similar towns, as in the border towns.
Yeah,
I think.
Just Shrewsbury, everyone's in everyone's business. Everyone knows each other, don't they?
It does in Chester. Yeah. It's just seemed to be. I don't know. I never ever felt that Shrewsbury wanted a football club for some reason. You know, I mean, it's the first. What is it? Is it a city?
No.
Town. So it's the first town, big town, capital of Shropshire.
Yeah.
Didn't have a leisure centre.
Yeah.
So the summer, where you know, in the winter, you're looking for places to train. We had to go to Shifnal indoor, places like that, and use the schools for the AstroTurf and places like that. And you know, they haven't got a leisure centre. And I'm thinking, don't really want to be going to Telford. Yeah.
Fortunately, it has changed now, hasn't it? I mean, you've got the sports village in Shrewsbury now.
Yeah.
A lot of the schools have adopted, like you say, back then may have been different, maybe a bit behind the time.
It was
really come right up.
I just felt there was not a togetherness about the town, the team. You know, and then we have obviously the flood and the pitches. I've never sat in the stand and watched the tide come in. You know, and that's the truth. You know, it really come in, and then you know on the Monday, you can actually see just the top of the crossbar to your left.
Yeah.
Right? And then on the Saturday, you're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. And you know, Dave Timmins is coming up to me because obviously we've got the kit upstairs. We've had to transfer it from the kit room to upstairs. And Dave Timmins comes to me, Gaffer, and he said, it's all right if I leave training. I've got to go and get the kit out. I've got a boat coming to pick me up. And there he was with the rowing boat going down the car park. And I'm thinking, well, you know, they don't tell you them things in coaching manuals.
No,
they?
yeah,
It's like,
management.
so that's another side of it that you had to deal with, you know, and you know your training facilities at the time. We were lucky that we did have a training ground, but you know, wasn't looked at after as good as maybe. You know, we could afford to do it. You know, but you know,
and Shrewsbury Town, Kev, has come such a long way, hasn't it? I mean,
I think most clubs have now.
I mean, that Sundawn that you're talking about there, that training facility is like phenomenal now, isn't it? Amazing.
And I would have known it when you were there because I was obviously a kid. It's chalk and cheese.
And going back to Rowley, like when I signed for Shrewsbury, I think I've said it before, I was really underwhelmed when I got there at the back end of the season.
He tries the best to get the you know, whatever you want. I mean, I still go back there, and if I'm going down to Cardiff or something, phone him up and pop in for a bit of lunch and a little bit of sarcasm.
Yeah, that's definitely a side plate, that one. Yeah. But when I came back the next season, the whole place had changed, you know, and there'd been a massive shift, and I don't think they've looked back, have they? Really kicked on.
Well, that was the thing that I think Roland was disappointed in, that I wasn't there to see that move to the new ground, because that had been going on for years. I had quite a bit to do with the development, as in what I wanted. This is how naive. Got the plans, and where was the kit room? Right by the fire exit. I said, that's a Scouser's dream.
The other end. If you've got Lou Rogers there, you've got no kid for Saturday.
I'm saying, you're joking. Why do you have it there? Have it the other end. And, you know, we were on about the physio room. I don't know if they did it, where you have a glass case, you know, a glass window where he's doing the treatment, and then obviously the gym's the other side.
They've got that, the training ground.
So that's what we wanted, so that he could actually, doesn't have to be in the gym. He can actually keep an eye on the lads doing the work. So all that was like put in place. And a lot of the time he's been doing it on his own, Roland. You know, he's had board members there, and you know, I remember board members there when I was there. I don't think they're there now, and never really having any financial input. It was always Roland. You know, and then having a big, and then trying having a big say. You know, I mean, I signed the lad Chris Freestone. I signed him, and then after the year, one of the directors turned me, who was like still owed Roland money, turned round and said that, how can you guarantee us that won't happen again? I said, well, that's what you get with a free transfer. Give me an extra 200 grand on my budget, and maybe I can give you a little bit of a promise. He didn't like the answer. That's not the answer we were looking for. Well, I thought, you know, well, that's the truth.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But, you know, you had to do a little bit of an education, because I always remember turning up, playing Kidderminster, a bit of a derby, turning up, and the bus turns up, and they've got balloons on the side of the bus. And I'm thinking, this is not a frigging party. You know, how can you take things serious like that? You know, when we first got there, when we travelled, there was no tables on the bus. So everybody was talking to people's backs of their heads. You know, there was never any camaraderie, no card games going on. And then the directors...
Chairman and directors on the bus as well.
On the bus, on the front, took up the first sort of 8 rows.
That's so old school now.
So Roland would be 2 seats away from the back, and nobody was allowed to sit in front of him, only Miles Starkey. And it was like... It was hard. I mean, one of the directors he can't be with us anymore, because he was quite old getting on there. I can't remember his name, but I remember him falling asleep on the bus, and I just tapped in my whip and said, I'm just checking you're still alive, you know, and things. But it was it's just like so old fashioned in one way, you know, that, and I was sort of taken back with some of the things that I thought would be in place that had to change. But it's how you change it and how quickly you do it. It's
and ultimately you've got to get results to keep you there to be able to change what's going on.
You know, you're going to a game on a Saturday and the board of directors are having a glass of wine on the front of the bus. You know, and the lads.
You should travel on the bus, didn't you?
And the lads.
They like up until I think COVID, and we had to do separate. I think it was still
I think Roland stopped going away from home, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think so. I heard anyway. But no,
obviously, unfortunately, at the end of that season, the relegation game. Was you ever thinking about staying on and trying to?
No, I had it in my contract with Roland that if we ever went down, that I'd leave anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's never a thought.
No, not at all.
Thoughts ever to get back into it, Kev?
No.
That was it.
I could see things. I could see things changing, like Sam was saying. You know that I was always brought up as, and I'm not just saying at lower league, but mainly the higher leagues as well. You know, your Premier League, Championships. The manager was the highest paid player at the football club. It's not the case anymore.
No.
You know, so all of a sudden, your discipline, you lose that little bit of discipline, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because that power's sort of gone from you a little bit. And I just think I had problems with the PFA over the players. I had a few naughty players, didn't we, Sam? Ian Dunbavin. And I always remember Ian Dunbavin turning to me and he had a problem at a hotel. And it was Ian Dunbavin. And I pulled him and I fined him. And he said, it wasn't me. I said, I'm telling you, it's you. And he turned around to me and says, prove it. So I turned around to, what was his name, the other keeper, Mark
Cartwright.
Threw him under the bus.
So I said to Mark Cartwright, you're playing Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, we had...
Bavo had a high opinion of himself and let him down. He wasn't bad. We took a chance with Bavo because when he come in, the first day in training, I'm looking at him and he's got, you know, for a small keeper, he had a lot of assets going for him. Good shot stopper and everything, and was brave. Balls were going in, you know, left, right, and centre into the goal on a shooting session. So I thought that can't happen. It's Sam who's shooting. And so I went and I said, Timo, come on, stand behind the goal with me. Let's have a look. I says, there's too many balls going in the net, and they're not going in the corner. They're just going past middle. So let's have a look at him. We looked at him, and his starting position was awful. It was too far out the goal. Yeah, and he was about 5'11", wasn't he?
Yeah.
So we stopped it, and we had a word with Bafo, and he said, "Who's told you that?" And he said, "Westerveld." He said, "He's 6'6". Yeah. You know, you look at you know Wayne. You know the size of it. His starting position is a lot. He should be looking at smaller keepers and where their starting positions are. Yeah. You know, Shay
Given.
Yeah. You know, have a look at him, see where it is. You know, you've got to be more of a liner than you have coming out. You know, and if the balls do beat you, you still got a chance of getting there. And he learned, but the trouble that I had with him, I had it with Wayne Brown, I had it with Sinclair, is that if their kicking wasn't on, the game wasn't on.
Yeah.
You know, and Edwards was the same. If his kicking, he was one of the worst. And the thing is with Shrewsbury at the Meadow, that if you rolled the ball back to the keeper, the amount of time the ball used to bobble up because it hit the line. The 18-yard box because it was higher than the rest of the pitch. Yeah,
that's why he wouldn't. That's why he wouldn't pass back to keepers already back in the day as much, because that's what would happen.
Especially when you were kicking. Yeah, so that's what with Batho is. He could have done a lot better for himself as well. He had
but loads of us could have, couldn't we? I mean, like we didn't. It was different lifestyles then. We had young lads, and you didn't live right. You know, it was different the way you handle yourself. The way, like Dave, you've handled yourself in the last 10 years. We didn't conduct ourselves in the right way.
We got the what's it in, didn't we? Started getting the nutritionist in.
Yeah.
That he was a good lad. Died, didn't he? In the car smash because he went to with Angelotti to Benfica to Bayern Munich. Yeah. So he took him he was at Chelsea with him, wasn't he? And he took him to because he was working for Blackburn, us and Chelsea. So he'd do Blackburn early on in the week, stop off at ours, spend the night, and then go to Chelsea for the weekend.
Yeah. Just trying to move it in the right direction.
And we were trying, and he was good. sort of getting Matty Redmile's portions right, which was a challenge in itself. But that was unfortunate about him, and Shaky. Unfortunately, he's not in a good way.
Yeah.
We had a good physio.
Yeah. So I mean, it was good. It was good for a long period of Shrewsbury, wasn't it? Then it just went a little bit.
Like I say, you lose that spine of the team.
Yeah.
And you're trying to replace good players.
Yeah.
With the players that was bringing, it was nowhere near. You can't bring it as somebody. Mickey Heathcote, and what a miss he was. He was a tremendous player.
And also as a bloke, as a lad, as a youngish lad, we loved him.
Yeah.
Whereas we didn't have the same feeling towards Jemison and that. No. But Heathcote was a top lad, and he'd take time for us.
Yeah.
Whereas Jemison didn't really take the same time for the young lads in the same way.
Ackers would, wouldn't he?
Ackers would. He was good. We liked him a lot of time for him.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kev, just to finish off, you've got to try and pick a five-a-side team. We get everybody to pick a five-a-side team at the end of the podcast. Yeah. Dave's five-a-side team was outrageous.
So players you played with.
Players you played with. Or managed.
But
I'm starting to think that maybe there might not be anyone. So if you pick Ian Dunbavin ahead of Neville Southall, I'll be quite surprised.
I don't know where
you pick a five-a-side.
I don't know where to play Nev. Out of goal or in goal, but he'd have to go in goal.
Neville Southall's in, you keep that bang on. Who do you have in defence?
There's a five-a-side team. I mean, as a defender, I never played in defence in five-a-sides. I know Dave Watson never played in defence at five-a-sides.
I was thinking, I thought you'd go Dave Watson.
Yeah, I'd go Dave.
Midfield is a tough one, isn't it?
It is a tough one. Trevor Stephen would get in straight away. Trevor Stephen, he's technically the best player I've ever seen play with.
Oh, Trevor is.
I wouldn't pick Mark Hughes. I wouldn't pick Ian Rush because they're the worst trainers I've ever trained with. I've Reedy.
Peter Reid in there. So you're going to go
Watson.
Neville Southall in goal. Dave Watson in defence. Trevor Stephen.
Yeah.
And Peter Reid in there. Now this is the big one because you've got Graham Sharp, Andy Gray, Gary Lineker.
Now I've already got my striker there.
Ian Rush.
He can run all over the place. No, Trevor.
Oh, Trevor Sinclair's playing up front?
No, Trevor Stephen is playing. He'd play anywhere.
Okay. Trevor Stevens.
So we're going on a rotation system here. False number 9.
So Rush Lineker, Gray and Sharp not getting
they're not great five-a-side players.
Yeah. Okay.
Sharpie might just be on the bench if it's big enough.
Who else is the other midfielder then with Peter Reid?
Brace.
You got to keep them two together, haven't you? What a moaning team that is, though, isn't it? Moan the life out of you.
You're thinking there, where's the goal scorers? Well, Trevor will just wander.
Yeah.
He technically, what a player. Just give it him. He was only 20 when he was there. And we just used to give him the ball, and that's it. We just used to go and have a fag. He'd be like, keep that. And you still have the ball when you come back. He was unbelievable.
You're saying, Sam, the poor coach who's refereeing that game is getting moaned at all the way through it.
Everyone's getting moaned at. Neville Southall's not let many.
Did you, when you were at Sunderland, did Reedy bring in the head tennis?
Yeah. One of the worst times ever. We had a massive head tennis competition. I was 18. Peter Reid, it was teams, got drawn out of hat. It was Peter Reid and me. I was 18-year-old kid. I was an 18-year-old kid with Peter Reid. I was frightened to death. Right. And he's not nice. He's not one of them who goes hey, don't worry, young'un, you'll be all right. He's like, you better be good. Yeah. And I'm coming in fresh from, I've just finished school, just done sixth form. I'm coming in petrified. Yeah. Terrible. Obviously, my touch wasn't amazing, especially at 18. Never mind, you saw me at 25, touch wasn't great. 18, terrible. I'm just like, can I run? No, it's touch. I'm like,
well, we had head tennis teams, 4 in the team, head tennis, because it was outside on the grass.
Yeah.
But the net was like this high, tennis net.
Yeah.
It's World War III.
Yeah.
So you got the A team, right, which was Reedy, Andy Gray, who else was it? Sharpie and Adrian Heath.
Horrible playing against them, though, innit?
So then there was the B team, which was me, Sheets, Alan Harper, and Trevor Stephen.
Not bad.
Right. And then you'd have Nev and his cronies, Derek Mountfield and Gary Stevens, and then you'd have the staff team, right? So that'd be Howard Collin, Terry Dadicott, Mick Lyons, and it was like World War III. So you get Andy Gray sort of coming across the net to try and head it, and there'd be people studs going up against the net to get his head, right? It was just unreal. I've never seen anything like it on a Friday morning. You used to have a little round robin game, all for £1, right? And it was if it was the end of the world, Reedy and them, if they didn't get to the final,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we just took it as a warm-up, but serious. So there was me, Sheeds, and Trevor Stevens. And one week...
Enjoying it. Peter Reid didn't enjoy it.
One week, I think it's Trevor Stevens, he gets poached off the A-team. So I can't remember if it was Andy Gray or if it was Sharp, he didn't turn up. And Trevor went and played. So we said, Trevor, Golden Bollocks is gone over, because that's what his nickname. He was the first Golden Bollocks. Yeah. So he went over there and played for them. The following week, they dropped him. Yeah. The following week after that, they wanted him back, and he told them to go. Yeah, yeah. That was it. Nice. I was honest. It was. I'd never ever enjoyed it so much to go in and train.
Because it was like that.
Everything, yeah. So we used to go in, get out early just to play head tennis.
Yeah.
And then you go to other clubs, and I always remember talking to Teddy Darracott, and he was at Blackburn and doing a bit of coaching. I says, do you still do your head tennis? He says, it's not the same. They don't treat it the same. He said, it's dead when that don't happen, Rats. He said that, you've got to treat it. If you treat it the way that we did, if it was the last thing on earth you were going to do, I mean, Colin Harvey couldn't move. Yeah. And more often than not, they get the final, the staff. Howard was brilliant. One touch, volleying over the net.
Keeping the cigar in his mouth while
the volleys that he used to do.
Peter Reid wasn't nice when he did it. I don't think he spoke to me for 4 weeks after we got knocked out by Darius Kubicki.
I played who was his assistant? There was Inchy and who was the other guy?
Bobby Saxton.
Yeah. So Reedy played with Bobby Saxton.
I remember you come to Sunderland and playing it.
Yeah, and I played with Inchy, and me and Inchy won. Reedy stormed off.
You wouldn't have that.
They stormed off. And I'd come there. We'd be playing them, weren't we, in the League Cup or something? And I think who did we do? Who one of our players did? Was it Bridges? Put him out, or was it Kevin Phillips?
He would not have accepted Michael Bridges beating him at head tennis.
No. That I think Spenner twatted him, and he was out for 6 weeks. Really weren't. Yeah, Spenner.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Kevin, thank you so much. Amazing journey there, talking us through Everton, talking us through Wales, talking us through Chester, Shrewsbury. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed it. Everybody will be sharing it all over social media. Thank you very much. Gav, you want to say?
Amazing, Kev. Thanks so much for your time. That's just like, my brother's going to love that. I know that much, so I can't wait for him to listen to it. But really appreciate your time. It's been so humbling and insightful, so thank you.
And where can you contact us, Gav?
Yeah, so contact us at inthestiffs@gmail.com or any social media, Instagram, Facebook or Twitter at inthestiffs, full stop. Without the full stop.
Cheers, Gaffer. Brilliant.
Love it.
Unbelievable.
Thanks,
great.
Wow. Thanks, Kevin. Love that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In the Stiffs with Budgin Motors. Budgin Motors are on Stafford Park in Telford and Featherbed Lane in Shrewsbury. For all your car needs, contact Budgin now.